Hey everybody. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Boy, that looks good. Uh okay. I need to see if I can find it online or the live feed just now. Okay. Edit. Hold on, I gotta delete the first line and then put okay. So it's Wednesday, March 19th, right? Okay. And I'm going to share it and share it again and tell everybody good afternoon. This wind is unbelievable. Kay is in, Marilyn is in, and I'm in. So there's three of us. Okay. So I was gonna, the other day we were talking about, wait till we get some more people in. We were talking about if Bonnie and Clyde ever really stayed at the Stockyards Hotel. And I just got off the phone with Bud Kennedy. I'd asked him on that day, whatever day we were talking, I sent him the message. I said, Bud, is there any proof that Bonnie and Clyde stayed at the Stockyards Hotel? That was on Monday morning at 8:06. And he said, and I screenshotted it, I'll post this stuff. Supposedly Clyde rented room 305, but Bonnie stayed across the street in the Oasis, so they couldn't get them both. Oh, so in other words, Clyde stayed in one hotel and she stayed at the one across the street. That's the way Sue McCafferty heard it from the old timers. And she heard all of the stories. Sue and her husband had this Northside Museum, historical museum. But then he says the owners of the Oasis building say they have also heard it that way. But here is the dispute. Bud's talking about his grandfather, Robert L. Chandler, who owned and operated Chandler Hotel in the 1920s. He bought it from Colonel Thanish. My father, Robert L. Jr., was born in the hotel and lived there with his sisters for many years. He spent his career in the Livestock Exchange Building as a buyer. He also laughed when hearing the Bonnie and Clyde story, saying he had no recollection of that event ever occurring. Makes an interesting story, though. That's, That's kind of the way I need to do the timeline on that. I need to find out when they supposedly stayed there, and then run it down. When did Bonnie and Clyde supposedly stay at the Stockyards Hotel in Fort Worth? The actual room occupied by Clyde and Bonnie during their stay in 1933. They don't know the actual day. Jesus. The Stockyards Hotel in Fort Worth. Is that now the Marriott? Stockyards Hotel. This is an 800 number. You're not going to want.
Stockyards Hotel?
Yes. I'm curious. Is this the hotel that Bonnie and Clyde supposedly stayed at?
Yes.
Do you have any information as to when the date was? What day it was in 1933?
No, they stayed quite often.
They stayed quite often?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any proof of that anywhere?
In their room.
I mean, how do y'all verify that they stayed there a lot?
I'm not sure about that. All I know is that they did.
Yeah, because they never had any money to stay anywhere. They lived out of creek beds. I'm a historian. Is there anybody that works for y'all's hotel that might know the real history on it?
I'm the only one here today.
Oh, you are? Okay, thank you. I know that's not true. There's no possible way they stayed there often. I'm going to send that message to Bud. That Bonnie. Y'all listen to that wind? It's unbelievable. Okay, back to y'all. So that's just a gal that's a clerk or something. There's no way they stayed there often. That I know for a fact. In fact, I bet there's not. I bet on their 2-year run, it wasn't even 2 years. I bet they didn't stay in 3 different rooms the entire time. They never had any money. Fort Worth Memories has 2 new posts. What's that? Uh, Gosh, I was going to tell y'all where we were going to eat also, and I've been tied up doing stuff. I'll tell you when I get home. I'll think about it on the way home. Oh, the wind is horrible. It is ridiculous. Well, I cleaned Red up. She cleans up good. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was on the inside. It just had that stuff from sitting in a shop. It was in there almost 5 weeks. So I figured it up. Y'all remember when I got rear-ended by the UPS driver about 3 years ago? UPS paid over $60. That truck is a $200,000, more than that. That truck, the purchase price and all the repairs and all of that, I'm not talking about little repairs, $25,000 for a motor. And I think it was $68,000 to fix it when I got rear-ended. So that's right at 100. It was 75 or 80 when I bought it. So it's about $170,000. But it's got a good warranty on it and runs like a top. Knock on wood. So the Stockyards Hotel, they ought to have somebody passing out some kind of information. I asked her, I said, is there any proof? She said, in the room. Well, what proof could be in the room? A sign-in ledger? Now, Clyde was fingerprinted in Fort Worth. I'm going to look that up. I've got a picture of it, of his login sheet. I wonder if he signed it anywhere. I bet he didn't. They never had any money. A big job for them would be a few $100s. Okay, here's Clyde's fingerprints. Yeah, he did sign it. His handwriting's worse than mine. And that was in didn't say when it was. There's his picture. I can't tell when it. Age 18, 5'6", weighed 132 pounds, lives in Dallas. Occupation trimmer. Arrested in 1928. Car theft. He signed it. But like I say, it's, of course, there's no way to prove it they didn't, but I've studied them for years. Buck's wife was Blanche Sparrow, and when they arrested her, she had written, they put her in prison. She wrote her memoirs, and then she moved back to wherever they were living, I guess Dallas, and she lived with this lady. And when she moved out, she left that diary, and in that diary, I've studied it. It says it was terrible. They lived out of the cars. They never had any money. They were not good bank robbers. I wonder what the biggest take they ever had was. I don't know why I'm on Bonnie and Clyde today, but what was the biggest bank robbery that Bonnie and Clyde ever pulled? April 16th, 1934, they robbed the First National Bank in Stuart. Well, how much did they get? Stuart, Iowa. That's when they were in that Iowa park and got shot up. Doesn't say how much money they got. It says the duo was active for 4 years. I think they were only active 2 years. They usually got away with very little. They robbed less than 15 banks. And once they only got $80. They just weren't good bank robbers. They didn't case the places out. They wait till they ran out of money, and when they're driving through the little town, they just pulled up to a gas station or something somewhere and robbed them. So, I don't believe the Stockyards Hotel. You know what? I need to ask that lady how much that room is. I'm going to call her back.
Stockyards Hotel?
I called a little while ago. I forgot to ask you a question. How much does it cost to rent that room, the Bonnie and Clyde?
It just depends on the day. During the week, starts around $2.99. Then on the weekends, goes up to about $6.99.
$2.99 during the week, and then $6.99 on the weekends.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Shit. For a flea bag motel, that's what they're getting. $2.99 during the week. Of course, across the street, the Drover, you can stay over there for $1,000. They get way too much money for these hotels and motels for my blood. One of my kids stayed at that Drover. It was $980 or something. Shit. His company was paying for it. I said, y'all got to be nuts. You can drive 5 miles away and stay at the one on the loop for $89. Oh well, that's all right. Like I say, I didn't pay for it. Okay. You know, there's no cafeterias anymore, is there? I was going to say we never eat at a cafeteria. Is there still a Luby's? Where's their locations at? That might be a good thing. Closest cafeteria to me. Cook's Children's Camelot Court Cafeteria. I don't think anybody wants to go to the hospital. Montgomery Street Cafe, that's not a cafeteria. There is no cafeterias. I don't even know if Luby's has still got anything. Luby's, hold on. Where is Luby's? It's at 5901. Where'd you go? South Hewlin. God, driving down Hewlin is... So how close is it to me? Oh, well, you know, we can go to that, what's that one out there by Fred's? All you can eat deal? Some people don't like that. Used to be about $20. What's the name of it? Y'all remember? Golden Corral. Golden Corral. That's the one on Altamere. It's a double $ for the menu, so that means we usually try to... Shoot, they get $25 for a sirloin steak and butterfly shrimp combo. I thought it was all you could eat or something. Is that not the prices anymore? No, we're talking about different things here. It's 4.5 miles away. They're busy. Well, I ain't gonna answer. Golden Corral prices vary by location. Well, that's unusual. Expect to pay $13 to $18 for the buffet. Okay. That works. I don't know if any of y'all are opposed to... There's one out there on the west side. So the Bonnie and Clyde story, I debunk it. I don't believe it's real. Did any of y'all go on the main group and weigh in on that deal that I posted this morning about the streets? They say that all we've got in funds is to fix 30% of the ones they know about. But yet we do all these other beautification projects. It didn't have any pictures, so I doubt if anybody's even commented. Well, there's been 3 comments. Repairing the lines on the streets would go a long way toward making them safer. Yeah, I agree with that. Repainting the speed bumps. Yeah, okay. The east end of Western Center. I'm talking about holes, potholes. There's nobody really tried to answer it. So now this Birthday, well, it's not Birthday, it was this Vickery Street Cafe. How the new place, Blue Mound took it over, right? Are they open past 1 now? Vickery Street Cafe. That's not it. I don't think. I don't guess it's taken over. It says is that West 7th. That's not West 7th. That would be on, that'd be on the same road that Swiss Pastry Shop is on. What street is that? $4120 West Vickery. They moved to West 7th. So that one's closed. $2,400 block. Trying to think. 2713, so 3 blocks back towards town. That'd be on the other side of the railroad tracks, wouldn't it? That must be in that where they got that Kroger's store or something. Yeah, well, we'll talk about it when I'm gonna be out of here in an hour. Ain't much. Nobody's very talkative today. Johnny Penn, what have you been up to? John Penn, the man with all the monies on the line. We can go eat pizza again if y'all want to. There's somebody, a lady came in the store the other day, the shop, and she works at that Olive Garden. She said they don't ever have specials, but they advertise they do. So I wonder why they don't really honor that. No money. Don't tell me you ain't got no money. I know you're loaded. Little bird told me you had lots of money. I just got off the phone with your buddy, Bud Kennedy. We were discussing the Stockyards Hotel. I didn't know his grandfather was Chandler. They owned the Chandler Hotel. I got pictures of it. In fact, my grandfather stayed there. Lige O'Neill. Basketball's on TV. What kind of basketball? March Madness? My truck sure runs nice. And it's got a good warranty, so I won't have to worry about it no more. NCAA, I thought it was March Madness. Is that not true? Let's do the sponsors while we're sitting here doing nothing. There is Yellow Snake. Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch. You can ride 2 hours for $75. Eric Walsh. He's on the board of directors of Larry's Kids, real estate business. Dub Peacock, A Bird AC and Heating. Burt Ladner. Wes Williams is associated with them. And Wes is on the board at Larry's Kids. Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel. That's Pat and Richard Carr. Coburn's Catering. Steve Coburn. Dickie Carr, Richard's nephew. He's in the tree trimming, tree cutting, anything to do with trees, bobcat work, haul-offs, sells firewood. Fort Worth Lumber is on the South Freeway, I-35 South. If you need building materials, plans, nails, information, they can help you. K-Ranch Roofing. Call one of those numbers and get Bree. She will set you up an appointment for their people to come out and tell you whether you got roof damage or not. Brandon Cross Electric. They're our electrical sponsors. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance, and she is running for City Council District 9 against Elizabeth Beck. Old South Pancake House, South University Drive, and they've got one in Burleson. The one on University Drive is 24/7. Optimist Club of Fort Worth. Jeff Norman will be on live with me at 8:30 Saturday morning. He's going to tell us all the stuff that the Optimist Club does. Passport Getaways is our travel agent. If you want to take a cruise or plan a trip, go to the Eiffel Tower, call Passport. Railhead Barbecue, Charlie Guerin. He's on the board at Larry's Kids. He's also state rep. Rains Plumbing, family-owned business. They do a great job. I've had a lot of good reviews. Casey Crawl is our Medicare and Medicaid specialist. They'll come to you. You can come to them. They'll meet you in between. But you got to make the call to get set up. Rex's Bar and Grill, that's the old Macaroni Grill on South University Drive. That might be the premier sports bar in the state. Schwartz and Hanson, architectural sponsors. Stroud Auto Supply. Danny Stroud and his wife, that's the second generation, because I used to buy parts when I was 16 there. So his dad ran it then, or owned it. Okay, there's Scott Sumner. There's Clay Winstead, Winstead Paint and Body. They're on White Settlement Road, just past Roberts Cutoff. Alpha Design and Build, that's Lance Sanders. And they can remodel your house, your business. They can add a second story to it. Whatever you need, they can take care of. Okay, I'm going to sign off for a minute. I got to run up here to this front office and see if I got any mail. They deliver it all up there. TCU plays and North Texas is tonight.